You have everything you need to create a better life. I hope you are aware of this. See, the problem I see with most people is they're not aware. And they've become so accustomed to what they don't have that they overlook what they do. And so I think the very first thing that you really need to double down on is, number one, mastering the art of resourcefulness. Quick story. I remember back when I was younger, I was always pretty resourceful. I believe I was 8 years old when my dad, he showed me his basketball card collection, and he actually gave it to me. He passed it on down to me, and at the time, man, I thought it was so cool, so dope. And I remember I wanted to actually continue it. I wanted to add to the collection. But meanwhile, during this particular time, I remember my parents had just previously filed bankruptcy, so they didn't have like much, extra cash to just blow. So what did I do? I went upstairs to my room. I got my little box of crayons, and I got some extra little sheets of paper, and I started creating my own basketball cards. I remember I would go on the internet, go on like Google Images, I would look through all these like different photos of all these NBA players, I'd print them out, cut them out, and then I would glue them to the sheets of paper. And of course I would write down the stats and all that. And then I remember on some of them, I remember I would go downstairs and I would go down to the kitchen and I would grab the foil and I would actually take off little pieces of the foil, stick them onto the card to make it like, limited edition, exclusive holographic, right? Funny enough, my homemade cards actually became my most favorite cards. And I would even, I would make my own cards, like as me as a player, right? Because see, at the time, I had just entered into a little, city basketball league for the very first time. So I was all hyped up. And so I would go home and I would, make my own card with me on it. I remember I put my school photo on it, and then I would put down like my stats. I would jot down facts about me, my overall rating. And then on some of them, I would even sign it. I'd do my little signature so that way it gave it more value, right? And I remember at this particular time in my life, like I said, it was my first year playing basketball, so obviously I wasn't that good. I think by the end of that very first year, I was averaging like 4 points a game. So I wrote that down. I would write averages 4 points per game. But I remember I wrote this down on one of them. I said, but by this time next year, I'll be averaging no less than 10 points per game. And then that coming year, that I did. That next year, I think I was averaging around 12 to 14 points a game. So it's kind of like everything that we talk about here on this channel, about creating vision and then seeing it through, materializing it, right? Anyways, long story short, as I got older, I took that same resourcefulness that I had when I was a child and I applied it to every other area of my life. My mom always said, faith it till you make it. And that's exactly what I did with those basketball cards. I took what I had and stepped out in faith, kind of like the young boy who took the 5 loaves of bread and the 2 fish, gave it to God, and what did he do? He multiplied it and fed 5,000. So the whole kind of moral of the story is the person who continues to focus on what he does not have will never experience God's multiplication in his life. Now, as I got older, I remember my parents eventually joined this business opportunity and it made them a ton of money. So we went from barely scraping by to now living a life full of abundance. Though it was a great time, it was short-lived. All the money that they were making just slipped through their fingers like water, and everything that they had built was pulled out from underneath them. Basically, the CEO of the company went and they took everything that my parents built up, all their business, they took it out from under them and gave it to somebody else. So overnight, their business was literally pulled out from underneath them and they lost everything. And though it was a horrible kind of dark time in my parents' lives, it was actually a blessing in disguise, especially for me. All of a sudden, now I couldn't rely on mommy and daddy's money anymore. My back was against the wall and I had a decision to make. I had to become rigid. I had to immediately make something of myself. And shortly after, by God's grace, this is when I was introduced to YouTube, which not only became like this porthole for me to make something of myself, but it also allowed me to become useful, which is number 2. You have to become useful, my brother. You have to become a North Star for people. This is so crucial, and it's actually the most important step to creating the life that you want. Being useful, what that basically means is living with purpose. If you're not living a life with purpose, your life won't even begin to take off. You need to take people on a journey. You need to take them from point A to point B. But listen, when it comes to being purposeful, when it comes to being useful, there's a trap that you gotta avoid at all costs. See, we live in a world today where we're literally a click away from seeing how someone else is living out their purpose. We're a swipe away from comparing our purpose to their purpose. And admittedly, I do this all the time myself, my brother, just being real, being true. and I gotta constantly snap myself out of it. See, when you compare, you create a standard for yourself that doesn't even align with God's plan for your life. So the best thing that you and I can do right now is to fully commit ourselves to God's plan, to His purpose. Embrace your purpose, not somebody else's. For instance, it's like this camera that you're watching me on right now. What's the purpose of it? The purpose is to record me, record my voice, my thoughts, my ideas, right? How come I don't use this water bottle to film me? Because that's not its purpose. I can try to like open up the bottle and then try to speak my thoughts into it real quick and then close it up, right? And then pass it on to you, hoping that it preserves my thoughts, hoping that it preserves all my ideas and everything that I want to convey to you. But the second you open it, the only thing you're gonna get is probably just like a whiff of my coffee breath, because I was just drinking coffee right before this. Imagine how disappointed this bottle would be if it attached its purpose to recording videos. Imagine how disappointed I would be if I was out stranded in the middle of a desert and I opened up this bottle to just a whiff of coffee breath. See, the purpose of this bottle is to hydrate me, to quench my thirst, to literally keep me alive by providing me with water. This is a vessel to keep me going. So hey, the moral of the story here is when you attach yourself to your purpose and to nobody else's, God will literally use you as a vessel to keep others going. To create the life you want, you first have to help others create the life they want. The sad reality is that modern day society has totally stripped us of our ability to be purposeful, to even want to be purposeful, to want to help and be useful to others. Why? Because they got us so focused on self. I mean, literally, what's the American dream? It's pretty much just hedonism at this point. How to get more pleasure, more things, how to live a more extravagant lifestyle. We're sold on this idea of go out and get the life you want, go out and get the women you want, get the money, get the success, go out and get. Never go out and give. And so, hey, look, if you switch that way of thinking and you go against the grain of what society tells you to do, this will automatically put you into that next tier of businessmen, entrepreneurs. And ultimately, this will set you on a path that most men aren't even capable of walking on. And the last one, number 3, you gotta zoom out. Now, check this. So we got a Discord, right? The individuals Discord that a lot of us are a part of. If you're not a part of it, sign up down below. But we got a lot of dudes in there, like 20-year-old dudes. Young guys, right, who come in there and vent. They say things like, oh, my life's just completely over. I'm still not successful. My girl just dumped me. I'm losing control and I'm totally lost. I don't know what to do. Look, hey, my brother, that's totally okay. I want you to realize that. You have to realize that at this point in your life, being a young man, you're literally nothing. Like, I don't mean to throw no shade. I know that sounds horrible, but you're just starting off, bro. You're literally at ground zero. You have 0 XP. Even me right now at 30, bro, like, okay, I know some things, right? I know a lot more than I did when I was 20, but I also know, and I'm very aware that in the next 10 years, when I turn 40, I know I'll be looking back at these videos right now and be like, this freaking knucklehead, bro. So, hey, look, you have to zoom out, bro. You have to look at the long term, the long game, and you gotta be patient. Check it out. It's like a good stock, right? When you look at the graph of like the last week, what you're gonna see is like all these ups and downs, right? You might see it really go high and then really go low. But when you zoom out to the last 5 years on the graph, all of a sudden, you're gonna see just a steady incline. And that's how life works. So realize, hey, you got time. There's no need to be in a rush. Don't grumble, don't whine. Don't be thinking to yourself thoughts like, oh my gosh, why me? Why am I not happy? Why am I not where I should be? No, forget all that. First of all, life doesn't even care whether you're happy or not. But the way life is set up, it makes all of this that I'm talking about today extremely difficult. Society has us so tuned into our feelings, and then you got all these influencers that just say, if you just build up your empire, then all your problems will be solved. So what do? We start searching online, we start looking up hacks and shortcuts. Think about it. Why does all my videos on my channel that have the keywords shortcut, hack, trick, like why are those ones always the ones that perform the best? Like 6 quick trips to make her obsessed with you, 5 super easy fast hacks that'll absolutely just transform your life. Why do these always perform the best? Because we've been programmed to want everything and want it now. And as a result, this is why men today are struggling so bad. They believe that everything in life should just come easy, come quick, because that's the stuff that they're saying that's being portrayed on social media. Like, I feel like I'm like what's the saying, the pot calling the kettle black. All these things that I'm talking about in this video, I mean, just being real with you, this is stuff I deal with, bro. Dan Coe the other day posted a little tweet, and what he said was perfect. He said, your patience will transform when you realize that taking shortcuts is the longer route. Basically meaning, hey, when you take the longer route, when you take the more strenuous route, that is the shortcut. And the best thing you and I can do is to be aware of that. Be aware that you got time. Be aware that the only shortcut is taking the longer route. Be aware that, hey, you still got a lot to learn. And if you do that, if you become aware, you'll instantly be a cut above the rest. So, hey, take a deep breath. And just let go. Remove the stress. Yes, of course, push yourself. Of course, work hard. I'm not saying not to. But also remember that, hey, you got a long life ahead of you. They say life is short, but nah, bro. Like, no, life is long. So enjoy the process, be patient, enjoy the ups and downs, because all of it is just, it's a part of the journey. Realize that the fact that you're even here, still watching this video, while the rest of the people, the 85%, logged off because they didn't get their quick dopamine fix, because they didn't get their quick little 3-step hack to change all their and solve all their problems. That right there proves that you're on the right track, that you're a cut above the rest. So hey, trust in God, trust in the process, and you'll get to where you need to go. Become great at something. Don't be afraid of the ups and downs of learning it, developing it, failing at it, progressing at it, and then failing at it again, and then progressing at something else. Because ultimately, when you zoom out, you'll see, oh hey, it was a steady climb the whole time. I don't mean to rhyme, but it happens all the time. By the way, before I end this video, I just wanted to inform you that we're about to begin the 21-day Wake Up ŌSleeper challenge. And I actually created a program that goes right along with that. So besides doing the weekly challenges, what you'll also receive is daily assignments, courses, masterclasses, that I'm actually going to do with you hands-on. And the purpose of this program is to give you the most effective strategies to take complete control over your life. With that said, hope you enjoyed today's video. Please give it a nice big thumbs up. Hit the notifications button to be informed when I drop a new one. And check out this video right here. It's powerful. And I'll catch you on the next one. Peace always.